Hey everyone, I want to take a few minutes to describe to you and lay out the design for the Growth Group program by 3 Million% and answer some questions for you that have been coming in. So I want to take that time to begin in answering who is this for? Why would someone join a growth group? And I'll say that the 3 Million% program is designed for entrepreneurs and business professionals. They're looking to speed the growth of their business through relationship marketing. What that means is where they need relationships more than branding. We want to give them a shortcut to be able to build that trust faster and get that business faster through that trust. The implementation of the 3 Million% relationship marketing strategies and tactics, uh, it's through our peer advisory groups, and those are the growth groups. They serve as a resource of education, accountability, encouragement, camaraderie. This program offers techniques and methodology for businesses to get the most out of their memberships through, let's say, chambers of commerce, service organizations like Rotary, Lions, those type of clubs, and then social and networking events or platforms. I know here in the Dallas area, we have quite a few of those. But in the larger cities, I bet you will have more of those that aren't necessarily tied to one particular organization. Now, how do the growth groups work? Well, they're designed to be a 2-hour meeting, and that group meets every other week for 6 meetings. So it's each group is comprised of no more than 10 businesses, and we try to have them differ by industry verticals. So there's no more than one real estate agent per group. And the agenda for that meeting and why the 2 hours is because we usually have 10-minute open or introduction, 10-minute summary or closing, but we have 100 minutes to divide by whoever shows up. And so what happens is each business, let's say if all 10 show up, we have 10 minutes per business where they get to share their work that they've done from the workbook. And that workbook you can digitally download once you join the membership. But they share their work that they've done on their workbook about their own business. And then the rest of the group offers ideas and asks questions and gives feedback to their responses. So that's how it's supposed to work. If there's less than 10 that show up, obviously you get more time per business. If the reason we don't go with a larger number of businesses is because it gets harder to manage the time. And what you are there for is to say, hey, this is what I'm doing in my business, and you want their feedback. If you're doing something that is out of, it's just not productive, you want someone to say, hey, what if you tried this? Or uh, why do you do it that way? And have you realized the answer yourself as you think through that? So during the discussion, the growth group leader would call on each participant to participate in what I call the spotlight. And all participants are expected to engage in that activity. And when it's their turn in the spotlight, they will provide those answers and receive feedback from the workbook. But the group would provide that constructive feedback, encouragement, and offer those ideas. So from within the groups, the participants are expected to hold one another accountable. That's where the accountability part comes in. So the whole growth group serves as the implementation of the 3 Million% process that they learn about by reading the book or taking the Masters of Influence online course. So there are two ways to actively participate in the growth groups. We're going to offer in person or virtual, and we offer a matchmaking service for both of those. Well, and it works great. We're new to the virtual side of it, but it works fantastically well for those face-to-face meetings where you see each other and you invite each other to events and things like that. But after the completion of the 6-meeting semester, as we call it, that 6-meeting cycle, I encourage you to rotate back into a new group, because what that does is it gives you a new set of 9 businesses to grow deeper with. So this is not a one and done educational type deal. It's not a class. The growth groups are not a class. What they are is the implementation and the accountability of what you've learned. And again, you're held accountable by the other 9 businesses in your group. Now, where your referrals come from and things like that, you want to go so deep with the other 9 businesses in your group that they have that loyalty to you to help you grow. So keep in mind, our mindset in going into this thing is that Ziglar quote: you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want in life. So that is really what we're trying to implement within the group is I grow my business by helping you grow your business. So you actively take a part in helping them grow. Now in the virtual groups, the referral side of that is uh, going to be at a distance, obviously, because you might be spread out through different states. So what that means is that's more of the implementation and the accountability, saying, are you implementing this in your community? That's where the rubber meets the road with this relationship marketing strategy, and the tactics are to actually do it in your business where you're located. If you're an online business, there's a way to 3,000,000% social media. There's a way to 3,000,000% your SEO. But you'll learn that and get feedback from that from within your growth groups. Now, for those that have gone through the growth group several times, there's something called the inner circle. It acts more like a mastermind, where instead of just talking about relationship marketing, we're talking about sales, marketing, administration, operations, leadership, finance, human resources, things like that. You bring up those topics to the group. There is no workbook for that either. You bring up those topics to the group, and they all speak back into that from their shared experience. So that's what the inner circle is. And they have face-to-face meetings every quarter, and their time is longer, but they have every 2 weeks a virtual video conference call for accountability. So that's just to explain how the inner circle works. But the inner circle and the growth groups are separate. Now, a question came up again: how often do the growth groups meet? They meet for 2 hours over 6, they meet for 6 times over 2 hours. Well, I don't know that I said that clearly. 2 hours every other week for 6 meetings. That's probably the simplest way to put that. And that's the most effective frequency we found. We've experimented with weekly, we've experimented with 1 hour, we've experimented with once a month, but 2 hours every other week for 6 meetings is the optimal for that. Now, who facilitates the group meetings? That would be called a growth group leader. And they are active participants within the 3,000,000% program that have an experiential knowledge of the growth group program, and they've been through it several times. But in some cases where we have new groups, we have a new growth group leader. But what they do is they get training. All the growth group leaders, they get training from 3,000,000% as to how to do this. And when we have situations where we're kicking off a new program in a new area, what we do is we have a growth group of the new growth group leaders where we train them and then send them out. But their special growth group is about how to be a growth group leader, and they meet each month before, or they meet every 2 weeks before their meeting, so that they know how best to facilitate that. So no one is going to be put out on their own. No one is going to be faced with leading a growth group leader that is untrained. So we want everyone who facilitates these growth groups to be trained, to feel comfortable, to feel that experience. And that's how we've created this from scratch. We've now, our growth group leaders have uh, great experiences with growth in their own businesses, and not to mention growing their groups, and they go out and actively recruit new groups as well. Um, which brings up another question, is why would I want to become a growth group leader? It just sounds like more work, right? So what that does though, considering that the 3 million% process is deepening relationships quickly, elevating your profile within the community, leveraging networks, building credibility, and establishing community. Being a growth group leader elevates your profile quicker, it deepens your relationships quicker, it allows you to leverage networks a little bit more freely, it builds your credibility faster, and establishes that sense of community as you lead the group. So the more times you do it, the faster it goes, the easier it gets, the smoother all of that goes, and you begin to get what we're trying to do, and you become fluid in it and do it without even realizing it. So these groups are designed to enhance the profitability, the proficiency, and the depth of relationships of these businesses, which in turn create the loyal referral sources. You're trying to create loyal referral generators from within the group. So if you're a growth group leader, that multiplies that. And the more groups you're in, the more groups you lead, the more you multiply that rate. So do we count, do we count as a growth point how much new business you get out of this? It's hard to say, because what we're doing is we're teaching you how to growth hack the influence, how to make you an influencer within the platforms that you're already in. So we're trying to help you get the most out of the Chamber of Commerce, or out of your service organization, or out of your networking group. So you could say, well, I didn't get anything out of 3 million%. I got my growth through Chamber of Commerce. Well, we were helping you do that faster. We were trying to get you there faster. Results we've seen from this in our local Chamber of Commerce, we've had hundreds of businesses go through the program now. And what we've seen out of that is they're the ones that are nominated for awards at the chamber banquets. They're the ones who are asked to be on board of directors for chambers and nonprofits. And they're the ones who really have a great grasp on the relationships within their community. They're not blindly going out and meeting people and trading business cards. They actively know how to build trust fast to make it a profitable turn of business. We want to create relationship or revenue streams out of the relationships that you already have. Okay, so that's the goal in that. Again, the growth group leader helps you do that even faster. Now, I can give you a quick hint. You can actually accelerate the growth of all of this, even as you go through the program, by mentoring others. So even if you're not a growth group leader, start finding people to mentor, and you should have the mindset that you want to be a growth group leader. So we have new people coming online into the program right now, and if they are in contact with me, I'm telling them from day one, you go find other businesses to mentor and start taking them to the events that you go to. And then by the end of your growth group semester, you need to have already recruited 9 other businesses for you to immediately start your growth group. And then you want to train those that you mentor how to do what you've done to go create growth groups for themselves. Now, it sounds like you're putting a lot of time into this, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to do that for free. Well, you should be getting business growth out of that, so it really shouldn't be free. You're monetizing your relationships and how you use that, right? But From the 3 million% side, what we've done is we've created an affiliate referral program that pays you 20% referral commission for everyone that registers for the program using your affiliate link. So if you're a growth group leader and you recruited 9 other businesses using your link, then you're getting paid, let's say if they join at the growth group level, which is $49 a month, you get $9.80 per person that you recruit through your link out of that. So we've got businesses that have already developed extra revenue streams from the affiliate program. And if you do this early and often enough, you can create a really nice revenue stream for it. But that's not what this was intended to do. We wanted to compensate you for the time and effort you're putting in, but also we really want to see your business grow, and we want to see it grow fast. Again, key is engagement and mentorship. If you can do those 2 things throughout the program and have that mindset, you will go far in this. Now, I've covered a lot, but let's just take a look back at the questions. Why should I join? So the premise of this whole thing is you can have everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want in life. I made a business model out of this, and I weaponized the Chamber of Commerce. Keep in mind, the Chamber of Commerce or these other organizations that you're in, they are strictly a trading platform of relationships. Think of the Chamber of Commerce like a room. It's a room where if other people come into the room, you meet those people, right? And you could possibly get business from the other people in the room. A lot of people misplace their expectation of what the Chamber of Commerce is, or the service organization they're in, or the networking group they're in. They misplace the function of that. So if the Chamber of Commerce, I'm using that as an example, if it's only a room, do I expect it to bring me business? No. They are providing opportunities for me to trade relationships, to go in and build relationships and get business from those relationships. They're just providing opportunities through events, through luncheons, through networking. Okay, that's what they do. Now, granted, they try to bring new businesses into the communities that they're in, but they are not there to take people by the hand or put them on a big bus and bring them to your doorstep. Think of them as a room that you go into and you meet other people in that room. Now, if you invite other people into that room with you through this process, through the 3 million% process, then you are seen as more credible, because you are seen as that you know more people, right? And then the people already inside the room are going to see how many people you bring, and they're going to be impressed, and their opinion of you will be higher. Your credibility will be higher. Okay, so there's a lot of aspects to this. I break it down for you very simply through the Masters of Influence course. And for anyone that signs up for the 3 million% program, membership program, before December 31st, gets free access to the Masters of Influence online course. And it's typically $299 to take the course. So the growth group membership is $49 a month. There is no contract. This came up in a growth group meeting the other day about there are several things out there that cost $49. Why would this be worth it? Or why wouldn't people leave? I don't want people in a contract, because I want the door to be open for them to leave whenever they don't get it. If they don't get what we're trying to do, if they have not had that change in mindset, they are free to leave. That's why I don't do a 12-month contract or anything like that. In fact, if you're in a growth group, I do expect you to pay as long as you're in that growth group. But if after that 6 meetings, you're like, I've had enough, I'm not getting it, I encourage you to go find someone or go find something that will benefit you better. But many have replicated this process that I've done and have grown their businesses substantially. So we know that this is replicable, but it takes mindset, it takes process to get that done. So let me look and see what other questions we might have. I think I've answered everything, but I just want to encourage you to look at this as a sense of community of like-minded people who have had this change of mindset in the process and the way they process relationship marketing. That's what this is about. These are peer advisory groups. No one in that group is going to try to tell you what to do. They're going to give you ideas and ask you questions about how to better do what you're already trying to do. And we have this format for the workbook that gives you ideas just by the questions that are asked. But you have to think about your own business and what you're doing, and then you have to respond with what you're doing in this growth group meeting, and they speak back into that. That's what this is all about. And the inner circle stuff that I mentioned is just a more intensified thing where it's a broader topic, right? And the meetings are longer. So I encourage you to engage. Don't just participate in this, engage in it, do it, drink the Kool-Aid, go hard, because that's where you're going to get the most benefit. Thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the growth groups.